Well, I've got to say that Bradford West is not going to be easy. Why is it not going to be easy? It's simply because the opposition that we have is going to get nasty, is going to play a very dirty campaign, and it's just not going to be acceptable. And we have to fight that man. George Galloway, ever since he's been here for 3 years now, he has done nothing but to be splitting the community up, causing divisions within the community. I mean, let's face it, our community has been living here all our lives here. Never once, I mean, I've fought 7 elections, never once has the issue of biradari come about. Ever since George Galloway has been on the scene, what we had, oh, this biradari is doing this biradari is doing this. All he's doing is creating differences within our community. It was bad enough after the 2001 riots that we had such a huge difference amongst our community. Now, all these years, we've been working really hard, tirelessly, to get the community working together and so on. And then this man comes up and he causes further divisions. And I would like to request that we've got people from the media here. Please do not play to the politics of George Galloway. It's about time we put ourselves together, we work as a community, and we move further. Bradford has had more than its fair share of problems. But you know what? It would be one less huge problem once we've got rid of Galloway. My next speaker is the Leader of Council.
Pleasure to be here today at the launch of Naz's election campaign. And it is perhaps one of the most important campaigns that we have ever fought in Bradford, and I've fought many over the years. And it's important because the result in Bradford West is going to be about the future of our district. It is about the future because people will be making a decision, not just about whether they want an MP who is more interested in his media contracts than he is about the people who elected him to serve. It's not just about electing a candidate who will work for the people of Bradford West, not for their own self-aggrandisement. It's about getting a Labour government to work with a Labour council to deliver those public services that we all rely on. It's about electing an MP who will fight for Bradford, who will ensure that we get a fair distribution of resources. It's about making sure that our National Health Service is protected, that the care for the vulnerable, be they old or young, is protected. It's about making sure that we can continue to create jobs, as we have done with a Labour council in the teeth of massive cuts from this coalition government. That is what the election in Bradford West is about. And do not let yourself get sidetracked into having debates about George Galloway's ego. That ego is big enough to look after itself. What we need to do is to make sure that we're fighting on those issues that are vital to us, whether you live in Manningham or Clayton or Thornton or Heaton or anywhere else in Bradford West. The services that are provided by the council and by the government are vital to your well-being and vital to the well-being of the district. And if we get back to a situation where we have Labour MPs in Keighley, in Bradford East, in Bradford South and in Bradford West, we will have a strong voice in a strong Labour government, making sure that we're fighting for the people of this district. And that's what we need to do in May, is get 4 Labour MPs, and I'm sorry for the people in Shipley, but the chances of us, of Philip Davis going, much as I would love it, are perhaps slightly less than they are of getting rid of Galloway and Ward and getting Judith Cummins elected in Bradford South and John Grogan in to replace Chris Hopkins. Yay. And let me tell you about what's happening to your public services. Since 2011, Bradford Council has been cut by £160 million. £160 million. And we know, because the Tories have told us, that if they are re-elected in May this year, we will face further cuts over the next 5 years of at least £130 million. What that means is the public sector in Bradford will be decimated. The care of our elderly people will be decimated. Our ability to protect children and provide good education and good start in life will be decimated. Our ability to help support your businesses and create employment will be decimated.
Bradford you're from, make this your own election. Don't say, oh, it's Naz Shah's election or the Labour Party's or so-and-so's the candidate. Because we need a Labour government. And since my next candidate, I've got to say to you all that he's my colleague. He has worked with me for many, many years. He's a very hard worker within the party and out there within the community. It's about time he is elected as a Member of Parliament. So please, a big round of applause for Imran Hussain.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Distinguished guests, sisters, brothers, Assalamu alaikum. Can I firstly say, I've just come from a door knocking session that I'll come on to in a short while, but I left that session along with my team to come here because I wanted to emphasize the importance of this campaign even over and beyond the Bradford East campaign. And it gives me absolute pleasure to come here to support my sister Naz Shah, who will be a fantastic candidate and a fantastic MP. Naz Shah needs no introduction. In the time I've known her, I am absolutely sure she is her own introduction. But friends, this election is not about Imran Hussain in Bradford East. It is not about Naz Shah in Bradford West. It is not about Judith Cummins in Bradford South. It is not about John Grogan in Keighley. We have a very clear choice. This is one of the most important elections that our generation will have taken part in. This election is the difference between a Conservative government supported by the Lib Dems and a Labour government. That is the stark choices that people have, and that is the way you must look at this. Now, I've been out on the doors just today, and door after door I knocked on. Nobody talked to me about an economic recovery. Nobody talked to me about employment increasing. Nobody talked to me about jobs being more widely available. The conversations people were having with me, door after door after door, was the real situation they have to go and face every day. Like the lady I spoke to today, who has been working since she was 16 years old. And she, at the end of the month, the last week, she has to go to a food bank to make sure that she can put bread and butter on the table. Like the graduate I was speaking to today, who has been out of employment for the last 2 years and is still looking. And he says, what do I do? These are the real situations that are facing people on the streets of Bradford. Food banks on the rise. Unemployment. You know, this government thinks that by taking people off who they've sanctioned and by putting people on who are on 0-hour contracts, they can fudge the unemployment figures. Well, we can see through that. And like previous speakers said, in Bradford, £160 million in cuts. £500 million by 2020 cuts to the public sector. This is what we're dealing with. The NHS, and at the same time they tell us this, the Conservative MPs and their constituencies continue to be looked after. The NHS, one of our most treasured national assets, continues to be under threat. And let's make no mistake, if we have another round of this government, then what you will have is a two-tier system where the rich can go and pay for their health care and the poor will be left stood in queues, long waiting. We've already seen £3 billion taken away from frontline services and, quite frankly, wasted. These are the legacies of this government. This is a government that believes that people choose to be poor. Well, George Osborne and David Cameron, I've yet met anybody who's openly admitted that to me, and I suspect anybody in Bradford has yet to meet that person who chooses to be poor. The reality is, they don't know how people like us here, working class, who have to work. My first job was sweeping floors in Morrison's at the age of 15. And I've worked throughout my life then. And I'm not ashamed to say that. And I say that everywhere. Because this government has no realisation of the real issues people in places like Bradford face. So we have one choice, friends. 7th of May, the choice you have is between a Labour government or a Conservative government. That's the two choices. The smaller parties don't fit into the equation anywhere there. And in that, if we want a future for this district that includes all communities, if we want a future for this district where you have hard-working MPs that continue to put their constituents and continue to put their constituents' problems first, if we want a district that continues to enjoy a free first-class healthcare, if you want a district where our coming generations will be better off, then vote for me in Bradford East, Nash Shah in Bradford West, Judith Cummings in Bradford South, and John Grogan in Keighley. Thank you very much.
Can I say this to you, Naz, that all the councillors from Bradford West, we're with you all the way. This is not your election, this is our election, this is our fight. We're with you all the way. So with that, can I invite Councillor Sinead Engel from Clayton Fairweather Green.
About life as a councillor in Bradford West recently. I've been taking on casework that should have been dealt with by the MP. I've been doing ATOS appeals, I've been doing tribunals, I have had to enlist the help of the at the top of the agenda every single day. Not to tell people, can't be bothered being in your local, go see your local councillor. I don't know if those words have been used, but that's the gist of what constituents have been coming to me and telling me. So, my neighbours, my friends, my children, my children's friends, everybody I've seen at the queue, at the park, at the local co-op, desperately needs not only a Labour government, so that we can have this dedicated Labour MP for Bradford West. We need this. Every single one of us needs to do every little thing we can to make sure that happens. The conversations we're having at the bus stop, the conversations we're having at the school gates, the conversation activists deliver what the people around us need on May the 7th. That's all I'm asking for you to do. Thank you.
Your help, we need your support. Whatever you are able to bring leaflets, whatever sort of help that you think that you are able to do, please.
Lovely to see so many people.
Closer.
I'll need to shout now. Assalamu alaikum everyone and good afternoon. It's lovely to see so many people turn out to support Naz Shah. I would like to start by saying Naz Shah is somebody that I admire. Somebody that has stood up against many issues in our local communities. Somebody who's been brave enough to stand up to be our MP. And these are things that I applaud. I personally would like to extend my support to Naz Shah as a sister, and I would urge everybody to come forward and support Naz. She is a woman of courage and integrity, and these are the qualities that she will take to Parliament to represent us. In my local ward, I've been out and about talking to people, and I have found that there are a lot of young people, particularly women, and my daughter is one of them, that admire Naz and saying all the things that maybe we want to say, but sometimes don't feel that we're able to say out there in public. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Again, I would urge everybody to come out and support Naz Shah. Naz Shah.
Thank you, Nusra. May the 7th is about one clear, stark choice. And that choice is about voting for a Labour MP, voting for 6 Labour councillors in Bradford West, or voting for the inequality and the divisiveness and the social injustice perpetrated by George Galloway, by the Tory government and by the Lib Dems. In my ward, in my great ward, it's an amazing. We voted for the first time last year. And I asked him, I said to him, what is the thing? What's going to go make you go out and vote? He's there, we're on the doorstep, we're responding to the problems, and we're the ones who can win, and we're the ones who can affect. Years old, lifelong Labour supporter, and again, talking about fighting that social injustice, what the Tories have always perceived Naz Shah as our next MP. And what we've been going to in terms of the vote. As of this year, this council will be giving over 2,000 more places. Let's all get together. We're the Labour family. We're the ones who can make a difference. We're the ones who will make a difference. And if you can do absolutely anything to vote with, that we're more interested in getting out there and making the change rather than being on TV earning millions of pounds, rather than working for the interests of the people of Bradford West, what Naz Shah and what every single... Let's get behind us, let's get behind our councillors, let's make that difference. We don't need
in every ward, now the next, my sister Naz Shah's daughter, so big round of applause for this young lady.
Naz Shah is just a Labour candidate for Bradford West, the one who would like to be the next MP. But to me and my brothers, Aidan and Reese, it's much more big and special. And although my mum worked extremely hard and we don't see her every day, we are amazingly proud of her. We love our mum. And I know my mum is going to be the next MP for Bradford West. and she is going to make an amazing change. My mum believes in all of you, so I believe in my mum. My mum is my biggest inspiration because of her confidence and how she went through with all of the hard things in life. So please join us in welcoming the next MP of Bradford West, my mum, Nasha.
Wow. I'm overwhelmed by everybody in this room, but you know, this is my reality. This is my home. Do you want to come up? Right, we don't want to miss the action. This is Reese. I don't know where middle one is. Aidan, do you want to come up? No, he's shy. Okay. I'm going to set out one of my, I want to set out some of my background, because in the last few weeks a lot of you have heard about my personal life. And what today marks for me is the difference and the launch of the Naz Shah, the MP. Naz Shah, the parliamentarian candidate that needs to be the voice of the voiceless, the voice of Bradford West in Parliament in Westminster. And I will set out why I can be that voice. I have worked in the public sector most of my career, and that started off as a residential social worker, and lots of my colleagues are here today. I then went on to the NHS. I've also worked as an advocate for people with disabilities, and my colleagues from those days are here today as well. When I've advocated for people in their day-to-day living, I've accessed services for them, so I'm a strong advocate. In fact, I had a bit of a reputation. Mike Clifford, who's one of our members, they used to tell their team, the one advocate you need to be careful of is Naz Shah, because she won't let you get away with saying we haven't got the funding for this X, Y and Z. So I have that reputation that goes before me. I then went on to commission, in the last year alone, no less than 88 voluntary sector projects across Bradford. And I managed with colleagues a budget of 5.2 million. So I have colleagues in this room, again, from the Healthy Living Centres, Imran Khan sat there, who we've supported and funded those organisations to make sure we deliver health inequalities where they matter the most, in the communities that we serve. And that has been across the Bradford district. I've since been, my passion then, I went on to, the NHS for me was a game changer, because what it gave me was my leadership. I fell in love with leadership when I was in the NHS. And when I fell in love with leadership, it was because somebody saw that I had a spark in me. Somebody saw that I could do much more than what I'm doing just in the NHS locally. I could do bigger things. And I'm very grateful for that. And that set me on my leadership journey. And I then went on to be a regional director for a programme for senior Muslim women to deliver, to help them their leadership development. And that was back in 2008. I since ran a ladies' gym. I also ran Monster Fun, a play centre in Bradford, and I have my family of my own who are with me today. That's my background. Now, why am I here? On the 1st of June last year, somebody asked me the question, what is wrong with Bradford? And with my, I have an opinion on most things, and I gave him my opinion. And he said, put your money where your mouth is and go and become a politician. And it was a really difficult conversation for me, because I used to see myself as an activist, and I didn't understand that I was actually already a politician. Because to be a politician, you need politics. To be a politician, you have to have passion and fire because you believe in something. And that is what I do. I believe in people. I believe in betterment for society. I believe that we can be the change that we seek. I am inspired by every single one of you. Every person, young and old, in this room is part of my journey. You make me who I am today. That's me. Now what about Bradford West and what we're going to do for Bradford West? We have a charlatan by the name of George Galloway, who's down the road somewhere. Actually, he might not be down the road. He might be on Press TV or Peace TV, because that's where he makes a lot more money than what we pay him and what our government pays him. Do you know, to me, a salary of an MP is a full-time job. So, and me, being a mother of 3 and living in Bradford, how would I manage to fly across the world every fortnight, I understand, where I could earn a lot more money? Well, do you know what that tells me? And that's what it should tell the people of Bradford. He doesn't care about Bradford. Bradford is a platform for him to earn more money for his political immunity and to go away and talk to others, to earn money, what is really what he's about. Now, he said on TV he's never heard of me. I'll tell you why George Galloway's never heard of me. Because he's never in Bradford. That's why he's never heard of me. He's also not heard of me because I'm a women's rights activist by background. And this guy, I mean, yesterday I was speaking to a bunch of students, a group of students, and they're here today. And one of the things that they've got, they need to highlight, is the harassment that they get on Great Horton Road and the issues that they've got. And I gave them my word that I would be highlighting this issue. And this is the goodest time of day to do that. But you know what really shocked me? That they could not approach their own MP. Do you know why they couldn't approach him? Because that's like going to somebody who endorses that kind of behaviour and he would not support them. You want to do this? Okay, come here. So that is what George Galloway is. He's not bothered about Bradford. He came in here, he came into Bradford with the razzmatazz, with all of the shenanigans and all the you know, the top ruthless buses, and I bought into that dream. I bought into that dream because I wanted change. So I stand before you because he did not bring that change. He let us all down. He has never, I've spoken, one of the biggest issues for us is education. Say hello. Say hello. Hello. When we look at education, we are second from the bottom for education. Now, we've got Ralph here, we've got other leaders of the council here. Has George Galloway ever asked the question about education prior to December this last year? And the answer is no. He gets a bulletin every so many weeks to be invited to discuss with the councillors what they want to change. But does that guy engage? No. He refuses to engage, and his excuse is this. What he says is, you're part of the problem, so I can't work with you. Okay, so if your child doesn't know what to do and you see them as being part of a problem, do you not hold their hand and take them along because you have all the answers? No, because that doesn't exist for George Galloway. The reason it doesn't exist is because he's not interested in change. He's happy to have problems because he wouldn't have anything to shout about them, would he? That's the problem with George Galloway. So what we need in Bradford is real change. We need somebody, and I promise you, I endeavour to work tirelessly. I already work tirelessly, even as a volunteer, even as a chair of a mental health charity. I work because my children are trusted. I'm a mother. I have children of my own. I was born here. I was raised here. I went to Green Lane Primary. I then went up, when we moved, I went to Hollywood Lane. I didn't go to an upper school, and my grammar kind of like explains that. But you know what? Bradford is my home. Bradford is our home. I am committed to working hard for the changes in Bradford West. We've heard the figure of 160 million in cuts. How do those cuts translate to people? I can tell you from my experience as a chair of a mental health organisation, when you have a job loss in your family, it impacts. It's not just about that one person losing that job. It's more than that. It's about what happens to the income of that family, the standard of living for that family, the things that you can and you cannot buy for your children anymore. I was the first compulsory redundancy in NHS Bradford and Airedale. That was in 2009. And since then, all I see lots of colleagues amongst me who have also faced the cuts and been made redundant as a result. The NHS is close to me because it gave me my passion for leadership. But it is also the most loved British institution. And that started under a Labour government. Not the Tories, the Labour government. And it's the Labour government that is proud of the NHS and will fight to keep the NHS for the people and not privatise it through the back door. My pledges include working with the council, working with the Leeds on issues. We've just had a reporting that was led by Professor David, I think it was, who's done the work on the London Challenge. We've got recommendations and I'm pleased to say we will be implementing them, and I will support that scrutiny. I will act as a critical friend, not just on your behalf, but on behalf of the party, with the leaders of the council, with the councillors, and work with them to bring change to Bradford West. It is a clear choice for me. I couldn't belong to any other party, because the party that works for me as a working class person in Bradford from a grassroots perspective is Labour. There is no alternative. It is Labour. So on the 7th of May, people, I cannot do this on my own. I need my brothers, I need my sisters, I need you all to stand by me. Today I look in this room and I see people, you are part of my journey. You must be part of my journey, because we want change. We want real change, not rhetoric, not wrapped up in celebrity. We want real change across Bradford West. Who is with me on this one? I'm going to be finishing now. I just want to say lots and lots of thank yous. And I don't know where to start. Thank you very much, Glynis, coming from London, and the messages from the top, from Edna and from Harriet, and lots of others that you shared with me today. They mean a great deal to me. Thank you to all the councillors who are supporting me. And I know I'm new to the Bradford Council system, but the kind of welcome that I've had has been brilliant and great. So I really, really look forward to working with you all. Thank you to all the residents of Bradford, all of you here today. And thank you to, to my guides, my mentors who in the background support me, in particular, around business and enterprise. When I look at Mr. Pervez, who sat here, when I look at Shabir, who's my chief exec, who manages me up because he needs to, and I look around and I think, wow, how privileged and how blessed am I to be standing here, to be able to say to you, I will be your voice in Parliament. Thank you very, very much. And please, vote with your feet and let's get rid of Galloway, because we don't need him.
I would, again, thank you all for your attendance today, and please don't make as if we're going to go from there.